I still remember the exact moment when I realized how thoroughly I'd been erased. It was a Tuesday morning in late March, the kind of brisk dawn that makes your breath steam as you step out of the car. I clicked the key fob twice, unlocked the front door of the downtown high-rise where I'd lived for the past 4 years, and hauled in my laptop bag, purse, and half-empty latte. I hadn't slept well. My mind had been buzzing for days with the global rollout of our new omni-channel campaign. By 8:30 a.m., I was used to logging into the marketing dashboard, quizzing the real-time performance metrics, and adjusting ad spend with a few deft keystrokes. That morning, though, the dashboard greeted me with an ominous banner in bold red, "Access revoked." My heart flipped into my throat. I tapped Forgot Password and got a message that I'd been removed from every marketing group. I tried my corporate email, locked. My Slack account deactivated. Teams calls rejected. My pulse thundered as I fumbled for my phone. A single text from my CEO, Arthur Cavendish, blinked on the lock screen. "Arthur, you're no longer VP of Marketing. Lily will take it from here. Badge access disabled. Congratulations and best wishes, Lily." His 20-year-old daughter, straight out of college, with a few internships under her belt, but zero experience running a global marketing operation, and he'd replaced me overnight without a word. My jaw went slack. My latte sloshed over my hand as I sank onto the couch, shock and fury colliding in my chest. My phone fractured with notifications, LinkedIn pings, texts from colleagues, stunned by the news, urgent whispers on WhatsApp. A dozen messages read simply, "What happened?" or "Are you okay?" I stared at the screen, fingers trembling, then typed out a terse reply to the HR head. "Ellen Harper, please confirm my termination and severance details. I'll need all transition documents by end of day." No response. Arthur must have told them to go radio. Silent, I sank onto the floor by the couch, heart pounding. 4 years, 48 months of 5 a.m. wake-ups, late-night budget reviews, crisis management, Zooms at 10 p.m. Sydney time. I'd boosted their global ad revenue by 300%, slashed cost per acquisition by 60%, positioned their new AI-driven service as a must-have for Fortune 500. And this morning, I was dispossessed. My corporate identity turned to ash. Tears prickled as I replayed my last conversation with Arthur. It had been just 2 weeks ago in his spacious corner office, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city skyline. He'd grinned and gestured at the quarterly reports. "Ellen, you're a wizard. We need you on the board's advisory council next quarter." We'd laughed. I'd believed him. Now that faith lay in shards on my living room carpet. By 11 am I'd showered, changed into a fresh blouse, and shifted into action mode, reflex, really. Step 1. Assess the damage. I opened my personal laptop and pulled up the retirement savings portal untouched. My personal accounts were fine. I exhaled, the first clear breath all morning. My personal line of credit, healthy. Hayne was covered. Daughter's tuition for next semester, already auto-drafted from family funds. Crisis #1 was averted. Hayne was #2 reputation. Heal. You. I drafted an email to my network. Subject, unexpected transition. Seeking new opportunities, dear colleagues and friends. As of today, I am no longer with Cavendish Global. I'm proud of what our team achieved over the past 4 years, and I'm now exploring new leadership roles or consulting engagements in the marketing Slack sector. If you know of any opportunities or introductions you can make, I'd be deeply grateful. Warmly, Ellen Harper. LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/in/Ellen Harper. Marketing. I hit send, then posted an updated status on LinkedIn. Open to new opportunities, 10+ years in digital marketing, customer acquisition, and brand strategy. I braced for the usual replies, "So sorry," and "Let me know how I can help." But there was one more detail, gnawing at me, the seed of what would become my revenge. The one piece of infrastructure Arthur had never understood, because I'd designed it myself, outside of official policy, for a single crucial reason. At noon, I met my friend and former colleague for coffee at the little cafe on 3rd. She looked at me, dark eyes wide. "Ellen," I heard. "I'm so sorry." I managed a wan smile.
Thanks. I need your help with something.
I leaned in. "Remember the marketing automation pipeline I built? The one that controls the global email blasts, SMS flows, and website personalization layers?" Priya nodded. "Of course, you literally built the skeleton key to their customer base. They were about to roll it out to EMEA. I sipped my latte. Right. What made it bulletproof wasn't just the code, it was the human approval gateway. I required a one-time hardware token,
U2F key,
plugged into the server console. It's registered only to my biometric ID. No key, no launch, no backup accounts. I did it after a security breach, thinking I'd reauthorize the team, but forgot to clone the token. Only my key opens the gate. Priya blinked. Arthur, he didn't ask you to add more authorized tokens.
shrugged.
He was fine until yesterday. I never told him how it worked. To him, that layer was your magic, Ellen. She laughed, half incredulous. So you can block their entire marketing pipeline. And if the key's not inserted, no global emails go out. No paid search budget moves. Nothing. I nodded slowly.
Exactly. I let that sink in, and I happened to have my key on this keyring.
I tapped the slim UB key on my keychain. Priya's eyes gleamed. That's brilliant and terrifying. I put on a calm face. Right now, I could freeze their pipeline. But I want something more subtle. I explained my plan. Trigger the gating mechanism only if Arthur's new appointee, his daughter Lily, ever tried to execute a full campaign without my sanction. Then, when she fails and panic ensues, the board would realize how much they needed me. Priya leaned forward. Ellen, this is diabolical. I grinned. Diabolical. And necessary. Wednesday, day 2. Setting the trap, I spent Tuesday afternoon drilling down on the pipeline's event logs and permissions. I created a failover policy that rolls out a 60-second lockout if the pipeline is triggered by any user other than ellen.harper@cavendishglobal.com or devops@cavendishglobal.com. I knew Lily hadn't been added to either group. I encoded an alert to my personal email, only one address, so I'd know the moment someone triggered the lockout. I tested it on a staging server, a mock blast that used account@testcustomer.com. Unauthorized user? Pipeline locked. Alert sent. Sweet satisfaction. Then I deleted the staging indicator, quietly merged the policy into production via my personal account, which was still active for auditing, and logged out of the corporate VPN. Mission 1 accomplished. No one but me could launch a global campaign, but a trap needs bait. I drafted a monthly VIP newsletter template, set to trigger Wednesday at noon. I scheduled it under Lily's new account, lily.cavendish@cavendishglobal.com. The template loaded all her profile credentials, her signature, even her personal photo. At exactly 12 p.m., it would attempt to send 500,000 emails to top executives, diamond-tier clients, and the entire C-suite distribution list. If successful, they'd think she'd pinched my work overnight. If it failed, it would roll into my lockout, and I'd get the alert. I rehearsed in my mind, 11:59, the digital clock counted down. Lily would log in, click send, and either triumph or stumble. Either way, chaos would follow immediately. I left the office building at 8 p.m., keychain jangling on my belt loop. Lily's first day on the job was tomorrow, and she'd be so eager to show her dad she could handle Ellen's baby that she'd click send without a second thought.
Thursday, day 3. The calm before the storm. I barely slept, adrenaline still pulsing in my veins when my alarm cracked 6 a.m. My phone chirped with a calendar reminder. Lily's first campaign, 12 o'clock, 12:15 p.m. I drank coffee by the gallon and drafted follow-up emails to my investors. I'm available for consulting assignments during brand emergencies and inquire about interim head of marketing roles. I had to look busy. Morning crawled by. At 9 a.m. I texted Priya, ready for showtime. She replied with a rocket emoji. At 11 a.m., I walked past the glass-walled war room where the marketing team was clustered. I caught Lily's face on a monitor. She was practicing her smile for the video marketing town hall. She was too young, wide-eyed, bright as a child in their first day of class, and so utterly unaware. I slipped into an empty conference room and logged into my personal email, the one I'd set as the alert destination. I opened a fresh notepad, ready to document Lily's first steps into the trap. At 11:58, my phone buzzed. Pipeline lockout, detected unauthorized campaign attempt by Lily. Cavendish@cavendishglobal.com, at 11 hours 57 minutes and 48 seconds. My pulse jumped. The global lock had engaged, meaning the newsletter had tried to send, but was blocked. And a timestamp confirmed it 2 seconds after she hit send. I exhaled quietly triumphant. Immediately, the marketing war room roared to life. I heard shrieks of alarm through the glass. What's happening? Why is the system down?
Did the servers crash? A second text arrived. Campaign ID 87234. Failed target recipients. 512,467 error. U2F token required. Contact admin. The board was in meltdown. Within seconds, the CRO burst out of the war room, scanning the hallway. My pulse thundered as if I were watching a slow-motion performance. He spotted me, eyes widening. He strode over. "Ellen," he hissed. "The system's locked. You've got the master key. Can you fix this?" I met his gaze, expression neutral. "I can." I patted my pocket. "Give me 2 minutes." He swallowed hard. 2 minutes. I nodded. 2 minutes. He bolted back to the war room. Exactly 2 minutes later, I plugged in my YubiKey, tapped the button, and the console unlocked with a satisfying green blink. The queued newsletter resumed its send, 512,467 emails firing out in a perfect stream. I tapped out a reply to my alert email. "Issue resolved. Happy to consult on your onboarding, Arthur." Across the hall, the war room sighed collective relief. Lily was blinking at her monitor, pale, hair mussed. She mouthed the words, "What happened?" I stepped out into the hallway, key in hand, and ran into Arthur himself, marching toward me, face tight. "Ellen," he barked. "What the hell just happened? You left us in the lurch." I gave him a small, placating smile, just smoothing out the onboarding hiccup. Happens to everyone. His eyes flashed. "You weren't supposed to be here, you were fired." I tapped my badge ID on my phone. "Actually, I'm still your emergency admin. According to the severance agreement, I get 21 days of transitional support." That's today, day 3 of 21. I held up a copy. Clause 4, company may request transitional services for up to 30-day period. You just invoked it. He gaped. "You have to send me an invoice." I smirked. "Already done. Check your inbox." He backed away, still processing. I walked off, tapping out a quick Slack message to my investors. "System back online. Looking forward to our call tomorrow." Arthur had replaced me with his naive daughter, but he'd forgotten the small detail that I was still the only one holding the keys to the kingdom. And over the next 18 days, while he scrambled to clone my hardware token and train Lily in the arcane rituals of the marketing platform, I would bill him by the hour and relish every moment of it. The hallway lights hummed above me as I strode back toward the security desk, my YubiKey humming in my hand like a secret weapon. Behind me, the muted chaos of the marketing war room had given way to scrambling IT support and Lily's wide-eyed confusion. My transition period, 21 days of paid consulting and support, had only just begun, and already I was billing at my standard senior director rate. Arthur Cavendish would wake up Monday to an invoice larger than his weekly golf membership. But the real fun was only beginning. Day 4, charging forward, literally 8:03 a.m., I tapped out a quick note to my finance team. Subject, invoice sent for March 28th. Emergency admin services, 8 minutes at $250 per hour. To arthur.cavendish@cavendishglobal.com. CC, HR@cavendishglobal.com. Dear Arthur, per our agreement, Clause 4. Please find attached my invoice for today's emergency unlock of the global marketing pipeline. Invoice total, $33.33. Happy to provide further transitional support. Best regards, Ellen Harper, $33 and change, just enough to remind him this wasn't charity. I smiled as I clicked send. The sysadmin credit card alerts would ping in seconds. 9:15 a.m. My personal smartphone chimed, a text from Lily. "Lily, morning Ellen. Thanks for fixing yesterday. I know you're still on payroll. Do you have time today to review campaign calendars? I want to impress Dad this time." I paused, heart softening. She really was trying. I typed back, "Ellen, of course, let's meet at 2 p.m. in the conference room. Bring your draft, day 5, teaching the next generation 1:58 p.m. The conference room's glass walls shimmered in midday sun. Lily sat at one end with her laptop open, her campaign calendar dotted with girlish skincare brand launches and sponsored influencer posts. She'd clearly cranked out 3 new email flows and a half-hearted LinkedIn acquisition ad. I pulled up a chair beside her. "Okay, show me what you've got." She clicked through slides, 5 campaigns in May, each tagged with vague KPIs, increase followers, boost engagement, drive signups, no budgets, no target segments, no conversion benchmarks. It was marketing bricolage, not enterprise strategy. I tapped a line. Lily, engagement is great. But what's the cost per acquisition? What's your target LTV? She blinked. I was hoping you'd. I smiled gently. That's why I'm here. Let's drill in. Over the next hour, we built out a spreadsheet, precise weekly budgets, segment definitions, lookalike audiences, multivariant ad copy tests, and conversion rate targets. I recast her vague boost engagement goal into a concrete 2.5% increase in paid subscriber LTV at $15 acquisition cost. By 3 p.m., Lily was taking furious notes. This actually makes sense. I ruffled her hair. Marketing is as much math as it is art. Now, let's schedule a test blast for tomorrow and monitor real-time metrics. And I tapped my YubiKey. I'll unlock the pipeline for you at exactly 11:59 p.m. She laughed. Thank you, Ellen. You're the best. And for a moment, I believed her. Day 7. The boardroom bombshell. By Friday, word of the Ellen Harper trap, as rumors dubbed it, had slithered through the executive grapevine. Arthur's inner circle whispered about the master admin who'd gone rogue, while the board's impatient members demanded clarity. Lily, market enthusiast though she was, recognized she'd bitten off more than she could chew. Thursday evening, I received a discreet invite to consultant.com from board@cavendishglobal.com. Subject, board meeting attendance, request Miss Harper, the board of directors requests your presence at a special session on March 31st at 10 a.m. Agenda, marketing leadership and technology infrastructure. Your participation is essential. Regards, board secretary. I sipped my tea, savoring the formal tone. In a week, I'd gone from deposed VP to invited authority. I forwarded the invite to my assistant, the intern I'd hired through LinkedIn, with instructions to book travel to the HQ building and secure a hot desk. Day 8. Charging the hourly grind Monday's invoice arrived in Arthur's inbox with precise detail. March 29th. Access unlock 8 minutes. $33.33. March 30th. Campaign calendar debug 75 minutes. $312.50. March 30. First, pipeline re-enable after misfire 5 minutes. $20.83. Total $366.66. Arthur replied tersely. Paid. I smiled at the paid confirmation. No haggling, no pushback. He knew I held the keys. That afternoon, I held a remote training session. 20 agents, conferees calling in from EMEA, APAC, and NA. 6 hours of screen sharing, doc reviews, and live demos. At day's end, I drafted a fresh invoice, 6 HRS at $250 per hour, $1,500. When the invoice was marked paid, I leaned back and exhaled. Day 9. Boardroom bullseye, March 31st, 10 a.m. The boardroom on the 45th floor gleamed with polished mahogany and gold trim. I took the head of the long table, my personal laptop open to a stakeholder-grade presentation. Around me, Arthur flanked by 2 board members, the CFO, COO, CTO, and HR head. I clicked the remote. The first slide read, Marketing Infrastructure, Risks and Opportunities. I began, Thank you for inviting me. I know my departure and recent gatekeeping actions have raised questions about our operational resilience and governance. Today, I'll outline 3 key imperatives. Multi-admin access. Eliminate single-point failures by provisioning hardware tokens to at least 3 vetted senior personnel. Role-based approval workflows. Integrate multi-signature authorization for campaigns exceeding defined thresholds. Succession and training plans. Establish a rotational schedule and onboarding program. Ensure any successor, internal or external, can manage the system end-to-end. I saw heads nodding. Arthur's jaw tensed, but he kept watching me. I flipped to the next slide, Case Study Q1 Outage, a chart showing a 4-hour global outage. Estimated $2 million in lost ad spend and missed revenue opportunities. The board collectively winced. Had these measures been in place, I continued, the outage would have been auto-escalated to on-call backup admins, and campaign continuity would have been maintained. The CFO cleared his throat. Miss Harper, are you recommending you and only you manage this system? I shook my head. I'm recommending I design and implement the governance framework. You'll need internal or external resources for day-to-day ops, but the architecture and training can wrap up in 4 weeks. As a consultant, I can deliver the final sign-off certificate at $250 per hour, or a flat fee of $50,000. The CFO's eyes flicked to Arthur. Arthur hesitated, then nodded. The board secretary made notes. The last slide, proposal and next steps, a scope document, timeline and retainer agreement. I passed hard copies around. Arthur reached forward, pen in hand. He signed first. We shook hands. Thank you, Ellen, he said, voice unsteady. I'm glad we have you back, at least for a while. I rose, packed my laptop, and felt the empowering flutter of victory. I'd turned the tables so thoroughly that not only would my consulting fees keep coming, but the board had essentially rehired me on my terms.
Day 12.
The exit strategy. By April 5th, news of the board's contract extension with me circulated internally. Cavendish Global's intranet announced, "We are pleased to announce the retention of Ellen Harper as Senior Marketing Infrastructure Consultant through May 31st, 2025. Harper will lead the upgrade of our campaign governance framework, ensuring robust controls and seamless operations going forward." The announcement sent ripples. Tech teams celebrated the governance lift, marketers cheered the promise of training, and Lily bewailed being backseat driving under my tutelage. Arthur's sigh of relief was audible when I visited his office to finalize details. But the real ending was yet to come. Epilogue. The Unclonable Advantage, May 30th, 2025. On the last day of my contract, I arrived early, one final time at the data center hub where our marketing servers lived. I unlocked the console, ran a final audit, and deregistered my YubiKey with a few keystrokes, replacing it with the new multi-admin key cluster I'd provisioned. I also dropped an encrypted archive of the new governance designs into the board secretary's inbox, along with a personal note to the board. It's been an honor ensuring our systems are resilient. Please remember, technology can be copied, but the human expertise behind it, years of experience, personal conviction, and the structural design principles, cannot protect your people as carefully as you protect your keys. Wishing you continued success, Ellen Harper. I walked out of the server room one last time, badge access now fully revoked. In my coat pocket was my final invoice, slightly larger than the rest, 6 hours of wrap-up at $250 per hour, plus a $10,000 final deliverable fee. Arthur greeted me in the lobby. He looked genuine this time. Ellen, thank you. I know this could have been simpler, but you delivered. If you ever consider a full-time return, my door is open. I smiled, wry, unrepentant. Thanks, Arthur. But I suspect my next challenge is calling me elsewhere. I handed him my business card, tucked in an envelope marked board materials and final invoice. He watched as I stepped into the sunshine outside, shoulders squared, ready for whatever came next. I'd outsmarted the patriarchal CEO who thought he owned the company, his systems, and his daughter's desire to prove herself. He'd replaced me, only to discover that experience, institutional memory, and unreplicable expertise are the linchpins no hardware token can guard against. As the city pulsed around me, new opportunities and old contacts lit up my phone. I had options, advisory roles, board seats, startup pitches, but one thing was certain: I would never again let my access or my value be dictated by someone else's assumptions. I had the one thing they could never replace: myself.